What is the best way to use your youth and enjoy it while it lasts so you don't ask yourself what did I do with my youth later in life? Accept the fact that regret is nearly inevitable. Later in life, you'll regret doing certain things and regret not doing certain things. Commit to learning from the past but not dwelling on it. Also start living a healthy lifestyle at a young age. Basically nailing it. It's a personality type that inspires feelings of regret, and not generally your wealth of experiences. Some exceptions for obvious bad decisions. When I was driving through the mountains once, I stopped at a little lodge to go on a hike. Before we started, I went into a little convenience store to get some snacks for the hike. In line with me was a man buying approximately 10 Cliff Bars, 8 Milky Way, and 5 Power Bars. We started talking and he said he was hiking the Pacific Crest Trail, PCT. After he told me this was his second time doing the PCT and that he had done the Appalachian Trail in part 3 times, I asked him how he found the time to do all this. This isn't verbatim, but he said, "I don't want to be one of those people who works a job their whole life, and by the time I retire my body is mostly used up. I'm using my youth to do the things I won't be able to do when I'm older." His comment really stuck with, and I think you need to make sure that if you have adventures, whatever that means to you, that you want to do, just find a way to do it. Use your youth as you see fit, so that you won't regret it later in. Don't be afraid to frick up. Through fricking up and making mistakes you learn some incredibly valuable lessons, and do it while you can get away with it. It's a lot easier to recover from a mistake when you're still going through high school, college than it is when you're halfway through your 30s. However, don't make the same mistake your parents made. Most of the advice your parents give you is from experience. You don't want to be sitting your children down 15 years from now giving the same advice your parents gave you because you were too foolish to listen. If you have crappy parents, please ignore the above statement. I see all those advices and some are for many people impossible to follow without a lot of money. There's an quote from Slavoj Žižek that comes into my mind, and it goes like, people used to feel guilty for enjoying some pleasures, but today, because of the modern ideology, they feel guilty for not enjoying the pleasures. We feel forced to enjoy our freedom and can blame only ourselves if we don't follow it to the end. I think you forgot a sniffle somewhere in that quote. Basically, if you want to do something, do it. The regret of not doing nothing carries infinite possible outcomes and is far greater than the regret of doing something. Except H. Don't do H. Instructions unclear. Did cocaine. Sports athletics. Not that you can't when you're older. I have a 60-year-old uncle who still plays ice hockey, but it gets harder to run around and whatnot when you're older. Currently writing this on a hospital bed after fricking up my feet playing football. I think I'll be able to play again in 2 months and I can't wait. I'm in my early 20s and still live at home with my parents. I've got one account for savings that I shove money into every pay. I work 40 hours a week and get paid weekly, and my main account to use on whatever. Lately I've been traveling, and I feel like the luckiest, happiest person in the world. I live in Canada. In August I went to Virginia to see and meet my favorite band in their hometown. Next month I'm headed to Boston and Connecticut. December I'm hopefully headed for Maine. And next year sometime I'm headed to Maryland. I used to suffer from heavy depression, but honestly, I haven't felt crummy at all since my trip to Virginia. The world is big and I'm so excited that I'm getting to experience it. I'm rapidly approaching 30, and I have some mixed feelings about my youth. I wish I'd put more effort in at school. I wish I'd studied something useful. I wish I'd planned ahead a little more, thought about a career and thought about real life. These are practical things, decisions and choices you can make that, perhaps, will not leave you wondering what if. On the other hand, the time I spent playing computer games, spent playing WoW was time well spent. I met some amazing people. I had a lot of fun at the time. Yeah, I could have been out working harder, or doing something to benefit myself long term. But the way I see it right now, I'm doing what I would have been doing back then, and right now sucks. I'm probably going to be working for another 40 years, so I still have plenty of time to do stuff I want to, and I got to enjoy myself in my 20s, at the peak of my life. What's the point in working until you're 60 if you drop dead at 61? Ultimately my advice would be to think long term. but don't be afraid to do what you enjoy right now. Try to work out the cutoff points. Once you turn 25 you can no longer get an 1825 rail card, so travel by rail when you're young. When you're 31 you can no longer qualify for a working holiday visa, so if you want to travel abroad plan for that. Try to pinpoint some of the things in life you'd like to do and try to aim in that vague direction. But don't be afraid to spend some time just having fun if you find yourself getting sidetracked. Oh, and invest in a pension, just in case you don't drop dead at 61. Don't decline an invitation to go out and do something. Even if it's just you and your mates talking, it will still give you something good to look back on. Great, now I need someone to invite me somewhere. Do things. It's a well-documented phenomenon that actual experiences play the biggest role in long-term happiness. Travel, go out with friends, etc. I try my best to do something fun once a month, but I find that I'm usually really depressed the next day. Work out and get in shape. It doesn't sound like the most exciting thing on the list, but it's definitely the most important. If you're out of shape, overweight, or obese in your late teens, mid-20s, take this seriously. Go to the gym regularly, do cardio, lift weights, restrict your calorie intake, eventually get in shape and establish sustainable, lifelong habits. Once you hit your mid-20s your body stops metabolizing food as efficiently. You're 100% done growing and you start gaining weight. Fast, you aren't eating any more than you used to. You aren't any less active than you used to be. Your body doesn't care. It's going to start packing on pounds regardless. You don't have to start eating worse or walking less to trigger this. It is going to happen anyway. It happens to everybody. Your joints and ligaments will start to wear out and you'll be sore and tired more often as well. It's made 10x worse if you went from being a high school or college athlete to a desk job and sedentary lifestyle. To combat this you have to work out. It's made several times easier the sooner you get to jump on this and establish lifelong fitness habits. The only thing more depressing than a fat worn-out middle-aged person missing the days when they were young, attractive, and in shape is a fat, worn-out middle-aged person that can never remember a time in their youth when they were young, attractive, and in shape. We all have dreams. Maybe when you're in school or at work you find yourself daydreaming about writing a movie or being a famous director or actor, or a novelist, or a professional hip-hop dancer. Act on those. That doesn't mean drop everything and single-minded pursue your dream, although it worked for Quentin Tarantino. But if that is what you wanted to do, there's no better time than when you're young and can handle those late nights, subsistence living, going paycheck to paycheck, the uncertainty act. Or you could take a dancing writing course after work or in between classes. Whatever. No 0 days. Recognize that the amount of attachments and strings that make it harder to do new things constantly increases, generally speaking, so now is the best time to do something ambitious or adventurous. I don't think there's ever been a person who said, at the end of their life, I did everything I wanted. There's just too much to enjoy. But to answer your question, I think the same thing applies to youth as does to adulthood and middle age and old age. Enjoy the small things. Spend time doing what you love. Don't worry so dang much. And know that we're all here trying to do the same thing. Find a little meaning and share it with loved ones. I really like this. While this isn't what way to use your time, I just want to say to people, do not let anxiety dictate what you do, especially when young. You really need to fight and rage against it, so you're able to do all the things you should be doing. Sleep through it so you know exactly where the time went. You will always wish you'd done things differently. No way to avoid it. Travel. When I was 18-20 I met people my age who were going on these crazy, year-long, round-the-world trips. They would go somewhere and stay there for months at a time, maybe work a little to build up money before moving on to the next place. Looking back, I wish I would have done that instead of the bulls I did do in my early 20s, which was basically party and get fricked up non-stop. Also, the one don't have kids young. You've got your whole life ahead of you to settle down and tie yourself down with family and children. Wait till you're like 30. Your body is still prime for baby making at that age and you'll have spent your 20s enjoying life and all the freedoms available to you. Because once you have kids, that's over. And everyone told me the exact same thing. And of course I didn't listen. I had to learn it from my own experience. But if you can hold off having kids, hold off. Play sports. You can spend the rest of your life being the best at exercising. I'm only 40 but my knees are already shot. Wish I would have played more basketball and tennis when I had a chance. 100%. Competitive sports are fun. Exercising is just utility. I left my hometown in New Zealand when I was 24. Wish I had done it sooner. I found a big paying job in Australia and since then I have been able to go traveling heaps on my own. And when I am back home not working I just play PC games. Moral is, just do what you don't listen to anyone else. Usually they are just as lost as you. Be open-minded. Don't get stuck in only choosing to do things that fit the person you think you are. A person like you would never enjoy a monster truck rally? Maybe, or maybe you'll have an experience too fun not to talk about. A person like you would never camp in the backcountry? Or maybe you just need to get your feet wet with a trip to a reserved campground. Try everything within reason. And be open to hearing about new experiences. You never know who you are until you know who you aren't. Don't give a frick. Drink like a sea, W yourself around. Keep a stable job. I have a pretty good career in IT. And make as many friends as possible. If I die in the next few years I'll die knowing I had a kick-ass life and made some great companions. That's just me though. I wouldn't recommend that drinking stuff to anyone else though. I did the party scene because I thought that was the answer to this question. It's not. Much rather I had studied and worried about the future more. This will probably get lost, but this year I decided I was going to truly enjoy my youth while I turned 21 this year but I didn't even need to be 21 to have all the fun I have had. Didn't turn 21 till recently. The best thing you can do while you're young is go to a concert and get GA seats and get as close as possible. When you're older it won't be as fun to be packed and up close jumping with a ton of people. But it has been an amazing time. I went to 3 different festivals this year. Edgefest in 2 different cities and the iHit Radio Festival this past month. People always say save money while you're young so you have some later. Why or how should I do that? Something people don't understand is that yes you should save money, but it doesn't mean you can't do fun things too. Want to go to that concert in August? Save some money by not eating out every day in June and July, and set aside that extra $25 a week and you can easily have that concert money. Something else that is really big here that is almost a requirement to enjoying youth. Get a job. Unless your parents are made of money and very generous, getting a job will absolutely make your youth more enjoyable. However, don't get a crappy job with people you don't like. Work friends make life much more enjoyable because typically you work similar shifts and can go out and have fun with them after. You never realize how much fun there is to have in your area until you get a job with co-workers that also just want to have a good time after the stress from work. Not to mention a nice paycheck makes going out with the group not hurt as much the next day. Don't wait for things to happen. Make them happen. For example, if you see someone you're attracted to, go talk to them. Don't wait for them to talk to you. Just be aware that this is your time to be a free spirit and explore things you enjoy and that hold your interest. Try, as best you can, to balance this with things you're required to do. Then, the question of what did I do with my youth fades away naturally. Explore. In the US there's probably a ton of parks you never knew about near you. When I travel I end up finding places people in the diner I'm eating lunch at 20 minutes away have never heard of. Same goes for historical sites, etc. Say yes. Obviously not to bad things, but so what if you're not interested in a classical music concert, play, instruction to baking class, whatever. If it's free cheap, just go do it. Never know what you might find or who you might meet. Exercise. Not at a gym if you hate it, but find something active to do regularly. Long term it makes a world of difference. Do what makes you happy. A life fulfilled can be whatever you want it to be. Play video games all day or climb mountains. It doesn't really matter. Pursue your passions. I want to play video games a lot. It's what I do. But I love animals too. So I adopted some pets. Sure, I am probably not gonna look back and think remember that time I played Call of Duty and won that guy, probably not. But I will remember Cotton, my cat, sitting on my lap whenever I played. When in doubt, go for the choice that makes a cooler story is the mantra I've lived my entire life by. It's led me to a pretty interesting career at sea and all over the world. Travel, for sure. I left the UK at 20 after finishing up an engineering apprenticeship, like an internship. Moved to Australia and travelled around, working in various different incredible cities doing all kinds of different work, meeting all kind of different people as well. Since finishing Australia I've been to many different countries in Asia which has been amazing. I now go back to the UK, still young at 22, with all of my previous working qualifications. Only now, I have picked up skills and experiences which have made me 5x the person I was whilst stuck in the same spot in the UK. I would encourage any young persons to go travelling for a while. At least give it a go. You never know, it may just change your whole view on life as it has for me. I still have my youth for a little longer, recently turned 28. And what I think is to just go out and do things while still working hard and putting a plan in action to take care of yourself when you get older. I could have taken a break from work and traveled the world, but then I'd be working from nothing when I got back. I got myself in a pretty good spot now. I'm going to Jamaica in a few months and will be taking a Caribbean cruise next year. I started saving for retirement and am trying to get a good emergency fund set up. You have to do everything in life as long as you can. Life isn't set up in segments even though we all feel like it is. You need to work for both the now and the future every day. I'm still in the middle of the whole youth game. I am 22, but so far I left home at 18. Spent a few years bouncing between friends' houses and swapping jobs while trying to get into acting. Then decided to hit the road with a Renaissance Festival circuit to travel. I stayed with it for about 6 months and lived in 5 different states, then stopped traveling in Florida. Now I'm selling vending machines and have got myself involved with a local casting company. Still don't know how that's gonna play out, but I guess just don't be afraid to do something you really want because you're afraid it might not play out right. It's been a heck of an adventure so far. People talk about doing stuff like that, but if I don't have stability in my life then my anxiety gets in the way and I can't even function. If you want to do something you'd enjoy, do it. Don't worry about what people will think. I have a huge desire to go abroad but never went or really asked my parents since I wasn't allowed at first. 17. Started uni at 18 and mum asks me now, I'm 22, why I didn't go on any of the uni trips because she'd have let me go, that I'm 18 and can take care of myself. I wish I'd asked her again. Providing I get a job next year after my studies end, I have the opportunity to take some trips abroad. I'm already planning for Switzerland and Italy next year, and when my friends settle down and get jobs in the next couple of years you bet we're planning a 6-week plus trip to Japan. We've been talking about it for the last 5 years and sure as heck we'll make it a reality. If you want to do something and have the resources to do it, go for it. Frick what people think. Go out in the summer. Don't just sit on your computer or phone, and don't spend all your free time drinking beers or getting high. You'll become an alcoholic. Save some money and buy a toy like a boat or a wavarana so you have something to do out in the world that will lead to fun in the sun and social interactions and give you an excuse to go out on a lake or ocean in the summer and on weekends and stuff. That's just a plain old good life experience. Best advice ever is to buy a wavarana. Keep tabs on your youth and keep them busy. Chores around the house are a good start when they are young. You do need to be careful about child labor laws and keep a ready supply of them, because their useful period is only about 10 years, then they get all grown up and try to run things. Get a degree, have a threesome, start a band, and travel. Go live in that big city you've wanted to live in. When visiting me, a good friend of mine said New York City is for the very young or the very rich. Well, I'm probably never going to be rich, so I might as well enjoy the city while I still have the energy to be poor while balancing the hectic schedule of school, work, and getting S-faced. Just do what you want to do responsibly. If you want to go on a trip, make a plan. Don't quit your only job and leave for a month, that's stupid. The best way is just going out and doing activities, hiking, beach, movies, all kinds of cultural foods. Go outside your comfort zone, but not dangerously so. Get in the habit of saying yes to things. Be proactive and ask people to join you in things you want to do. It certainly helps to have rich parents, or just financially responsible parents that save money so that your entire family isn't permanently one step from financial catastrophe, such that even the thought of doing something fun comes with incredible economic anxiety for all involved. Amicably split with your high school girlfriend boyfriend. You're both going to grow as people in the next few years. Either you will grow apart or you will hold one another back. Neither is good. Collect experiences, not stuff. Looking back, I wish I'd never bought that 2-story house, a couple of new cars when older ones still got a job done, and half a dozen mid-level price items. I didn't need that crap, and when I got rid of it all in an estate sale it was briefly stressful, but then I felt so much relief to not having all that crap. For God's sake, there was still stuff new in the box from our wedding over 25 years ago. I don't really recall any of the stuff. Certainly my family does not talk about it much. We talk about the experiences we had, the vacations, the weekend getaways, the pull kids out of school to see the Harry Potter matinee. That's where the gold is. Side benefit: stay away from stuff and you mostly stay away from debt. Do all those things that demand some physical ability, like sleeping on the ground. If I went camping now, I'd barely be able to walk the next day. When I was 20, it was nothing. Do all you can of that while you're young. Hike Europe, Asia. Do the adventure travel thing. And bang as many hot chicks as you can. If I could go back in time, I would spend a lot less time laying around for years in long-term relationships where it should have been obvious that it wouldn't last forever. Getting comfortable and settling down for no dang good reason is idiocy. Don't get married too early. Wait until 30 or later. There's too much to be focusing on to be distracted with marriage, and the odds are more favorable the later you get married. I see a ton of great ideas on here, but I would emphasize saving in either an IRA or 401k, United States. The importance of compounding interest for when you want to retire can't be expressed enough. You'll be old longer than you are young, so take it seriously and save whatever you can. It can add up to a small fortune by the time you're 65. In Hawaii, we talked to the guys working on the tourist outdoor activities, kayak guides, bike guides, etc. They came to Hawaii and switched between the various jobs, so they got paid to live in Hawaii and try all sorts of things for a couple of years. I see youth only as an obstacle to successfully reaching middle age. I'm waiting too fricking long for that time to come. I don't believe in the youth is great bulls. It really isn't. The respect and intelligence that comes with being middle-aged makes youth look like a piece of garbage. The my body heals itself very quickly part was nice, though. Enjoy where you at right now. When you're older you'll have more money and won't be worrying about your next dollar. Don't settle for second best in partners. Wait of you aren't sure because there is always someone more perfect. Make mistakes. Learn from them, don't regret them. Be polite and respectful. Be the person. Be the person you wish others were. Learn confidence and don't be scared. Most of all, don't worry and enjoy your youth as everything gets better, at least till where I am at 43. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.